Hello, hello. Ah, it works. Amazing. Who was here yesterday already? Nice. Who did we see last year already? Nobody? Or I don't see anyone. Okay, amazing. Anyway, so this is our first talk today. So I'm very proud and happy to be able to welcome Christoph Jentzsch. So who have you heard of a DAO? Okay, who prefers Ethereum Classic? Anyone? Okay, so time to extend your greetings to him for introducing us to Ethereum Classic, I believe, and some more modern aspects of tokenization today. So warm welcome to Christoph, please.
Thank you.
And then the stage is yours.
Thank you very much. So there's a lot of light. I cannot really see you, but it's great to be here. Those waking up early in the morning get the best talks. So let's see. So who of you actually likes Bitcoin? A few. Interesting. Bitcoiners brought you Ethereum. Let's look at it back. I started in 2013, and back then there was only Bitcoin, basically. I became fascinated by the concept of decentralization. I was doing my PhD in theoretical physics at the time, about because we just had a talk about physics, about concepts where you have local rules and get a global behavior. And this was kind of what Bitcoin is. You have some local rules, just a protocol, and get a global behavior. And so this was totally fascinating. And Vitalik and the others were all Bitcoiners. Just let's not forget where we come from. And then Vitalik wrote this great white paper. Who of you have read the white paper? Also some. So I really recommend it, because when I read it in 2014, it was like a prophecy. Because if you look at it in hindsight, almost everything in there got fulfilled. And he predicted almost everything except of NFTs. So he spoke about ENS. He called it different than just a domain name system on chain. He talked about DAOs, decentralized autonomous organization. He talked about tokens and the concept and why it could not be built on Bitcoin. He tried to build it on Mastercoin, but they didn't let him. So then in the end, he tried with Ripple. He didn't get a visa, and then he had to build this on his own. So, and this is kind of this journey. We really started with Bitcoin, then we got Ethereum, and also for some people who have been around at the time, how would you launch a token pre-Ethereum? And that's what actually happened. So people launched their own chain. So you have Primecoin, you have Namecoin, and yet all those chains in 2013-14, because people wanted to launch tokens with certain aspects or characteristics, and the only way to do so was having a new chain with mostly proof of work. Some people invented some other consensus mechanism, like Primecoin, they have to find new prime numbers. There was all sorts of things, how you would like have a new consensus algorithm just for deploying a new coin. So then we had Ethereum, and this is like a little code snippet out of the white paper. It was written in a Python-like pseudo language, the ERC20 token. We called them ERC20 way later. At the time, we didn't call them ERC20, we just called them coins or tokens. And now we could have, like, Bitcoin was digital ownership. And we never intended to build another currency, by the way. This whole narrative about Ether being like ultrasound money was introduced something like 2018-19. At 2014, when I joined the Ethereum Foundation full-time, so actually last month marks my 10-year anniversary working full-time on Ethereum. And back then, we called it the oil. Like Bitcoin was gold, was money, also in our mind. Ethereum was just a platform for decentralized application. Not more, not less. And on this platform, we would have Ethereum, we would have Swarm and Whisper. Those were protocols for decentralized storage or decentralized messages. Whisper didn't really work out, didn't get any adoption, although it was really nice. Swarm is still around. Ethereum, of course, got big. But this was the idea, building a platform for decentralized applications. And you would need Ether to pay for computation. And later on, the story changed, and some people wanted to make money, and we changed it to Ether is money. And it's fine as well. It's a free permissionless system. Everybody can do what they want. But it's very important to understand where we are coming from. So now we had those ERC20 tokens. So I was working full-time on Ethereum. Then the Ethereum Foundation almost ran out of money, end of 2015. So they canceled the C++ team around Gavin Wood. which was a historic decision because this actually is the origin of Polkadot, if you want. Because Gavin was very dedicated to Ethereum, and Vitalik couldn't have built it without him. I was working in Gavin Wood's team. He was brilliant. He wrote the yellow paper, a technical specification of Ethereum. We wrote the C++ client, and maybe just a little anecdote. Why are we using Go Ethereum and not C++? The little story behind this was, we are both like having a Python team, a Go team, a C++ team. Go was Jeffy Wilke, Python was Vitalik Buterin, C++ was Gavin Wood. And C++ was always the most performant and best client and the most correct one because it was Gavin wrote the specification, and the other one basically had to adopt accordingly. And so what then happened is, we wanted to launch, and there was a security audit, and Gavin said, I want to build like one or two more features in. Let's get Go Ethereum audited first, so we have like 2 more months of coding, and then we audit C++ client. So after the Go Ethereum client was audited, the decision was made, let's just launch now. We have an audited client, and then C++ comes later. But everybody just did run Go Ethereum and never changed. So this is why we have this dominant Go Ethereum client today. But getting back to tokens. So the next was, this slide is a bit broken, nevertheless, the DAO. So after after Ethereum Foundation more or less ran out of money, I started my own company called Slockit. We wanted to connect IoT devices to the blockchain to build something like a decentralized Airbnb. We collected like. In the beginning, we didn't collect any money. We said, let's do it a pure Ethereum way, fully decentralized, build a decentralized autonomous organization because now we have the means to do it. Ethereum was launched, we can code it. It was really like Solidity version 0.1. It was all done on the command line. There was no IDE or any of those tools around. So I wrote a smart contract, the DAO. We got it audited by a company. I showed it to like all the prominent Ethereum figures to audit it and look at it. You all know what happened. So there was a bug in the contract. Before that, it raised about $150 million in Ether. Then the Ether price went up from about $5 to $10 almost, or $12 even. And so then that was actually $225 million in the DAO. It was super, super scary. There are like 2 movies around the topic right now and 3 books. If you want to read more about what happened during the DAO times. The book I can mostly recommend is the book from Laura Sheen. The Laura Sheen book is very well researched. It's maybe a bit personal at times, but it's factual as far as I can tell correct. The other books I didn't recommend as much. Although The Infinite Machine is also not bad, but written from a very positive angle. So if you want to read about what happened at this time. So we had the hack, DAO wars, a lot of craziness, in the end a hard fork, and we got Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. Of course, in my 15-minute talk, I cannot really go into the depth of it. But what happened afterwards? So we all learned about tokenization working really, really well. Most of the Ethereum projects at the time wanted to make a proposal to the DAO and get funded by the DAO. This would have been a dream, but this didn't happen because the DAO failed. So we got this ICO boom. So billions of dollars being raised by ICOs. One of the most famous / infamous, EOS, for example, or EOS, they raised $4 billion in an ICO. Marketing on Times Squares. Of course, you can speak about the legality of it or not, but what happened from a legal perspective? If you want to launch a token, the good thing is what you should not do is have 2 cap tables. Meaning if you have a for-profit entity like a GmbH or AG or any for-profit entity, you have a cap table of shareholders who want to pay out dividends and other things. And if you then on top of it have a token, an investor doesn't know where the money is, where to invest in, it's just a mess, and then the CEO has a lot of power in deciding where the value goes, to the token holders or to the shareholders. That is why it's actually not a bad idea to say, if you make a token project, have a non-profit behind, so there are no actual shareholders, there is no one profiting from it. So the model at the time, they went to Switzerland, to MME, paid 300K for the lawyers to set up this non-profit foundation, collected actual donations. I mean, you get actually a tax discount. So people donated at the Swiss foundation as a little gift. They get the tokens with a legal contract saying this is worth nothing, will be worth nothing, it means nothing, you have no governance right, no dividend rights. It is really nothing, it's just a token. And then people invested those billions of dollars. Of course, there were lots of scams and a lot of bad projects, and that's also why if you look back at the time, most people have very negative feelings about it. Although the fundraising mechanism in itself was revolutionary. People could invest from all over the world, permissionless, atomic swaps, money in, token out. transparency on-chain. So there were a lot of really good mechanisms, but the projects were just really bad. So what happened afterwards? Well, SEC didn't like it. German BaFin didn't like it as well. Most founders get really cold feet. What's happening here? There was a couple of people paying some money. I think EOS paid about 30 million fee, which is nothing if you raise 4 billion. Some other ICO projects paid about 200K fee. So meaning the punishment was ridiculously low compared to the money raised. So nobody went really to jail except of some real scammers who went around, run away with the money. But nevertheless, people wanted to stop doing it because law was against it. They were seeing it as a security token. And so what happened afterwards? Well, we had some security token projects, but they were not that successful. Meaning the biggest mistake they made where they let all the legal assets, like you have your AG or your for-profit company, you have your laws, your rules, your investment contracts, all of that. Sorry. And then you put a token on top. But this just means that the investors now not only have to sign contracts, they also have to get a wallet and also have to transfer the token. So it's just basically added complexity, didn't reduce it. And there's a quote by Buckminster Fuller, which I like a lot, because it basically describes a lot of the mindset we had behind building Ethereum. This quote is actually also shared by, I think, Vitalik as well and Gavin. So it says, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. This is how we built Ethereum, and that's how I wanted to try to reinvent all those tokenization things. Of course, not everything. There's a lot of good projects out there. If you can make a real utility token with actual utility, go for it. It's easy. Easier, not easy. But if you have a normal for-profit company, if you have a normal for-profit project, which maybe is more like a Silicon Valley style startup, then I have something for you today, which I want to introduce, which I did build over the last years. We paid millions of dollars or euros in lawyer fees to really get this implemented. And I want to introduce to you the GmbH-Token, what it is and what we have built. So I mentioned earlier, you do not want to have two cap tables. So as a for-profit entity like a GmbH or LLC in the US or England, you have your shareholders, you have your cap table. And you just want to add people in this cap table. But in Germany, you have to actually go to the notary. Paying 5K notary fees, 30K in lawyer fees, it's real hassle. So that's why we built the GmbH-Token. So what is it? I have now only one slide. If this is your takeaway from today, that would be great, because it's one slide which completely explains the GmbH-Token. So what is it from a legal perspective? Sorry for the typos. I think somehow when converting those things into PDF, something went wrong. But well, first you have the legal side. The legal side, in English, is called profit participation right. In German, we would say Genussrecht for the Germans among us. What's included in this? It's just a legal contract between the company and the token holder, which gives the token holder right to dividends, to exit proceeds, liquidation proceeds, some information rights, and even the option to convert the token to actual shares. This has to happen at the notary, but you actually don't need to do this because you have all the economic rights of a shareholder. So a token holder has exactly the same economic rights as a shareholder. Every time a shareholder gets €1 per share, a token holder gets €1 per token. So a token has always the same value as a share. That's the legal part. The technical stuff, I think for this audience is trivial. It's an ERC20 token on Ethereum. We added some features such as an allow list, lockups for investors if we want, vestings for employees. And it has full access to the DeFi ecosystem. Recently, I used one of our company GmbH tokens on PWN, which is a protocol where you can use your tokens as a collateral to get actually a loan. Nice DeFi applications. Then we're looking at Uniswap or CowSwap and so on. So now you have this technical token on Ethereum. Now, what is the real innovation? This word completely got broken. It's called connection. Whatever, I don't know what the PDF converter did here. This is now the legal innovation. As I explained to you earlier, normally you would have investment contracts on your token, and then if you go to your lawyer and say, I want to tokenize my company, he would tell you, please don't, because what is the main problem of most security token projects? It is that you have a chain of investment contracts which you need to verify that the chain is not broken. What does it mean in practice? If some of you would buy a security token, a normal one, and then you transfer to someone else, and it goes on Uniswap, and you have like 100 transfers. Each of those transfers needs to be a legally binding investment contract, meaning if my 9-year-old daughter is transferring the token, she's not entering into an investment contract, meaning the legal rights stay with me and someone else has the token. So it's a worst case scenario, legal rights token get divided or separated. And to prevent this, we have a simple but very, very powerful solution that was made by our lawyers. It's called Auslobung in German. The best English translation I could find is public award. And what does it mean? According to the BGB, or the basic law in German, and it's similar in most other countries, you can make a public promise that you will reward a certain action. And this is legally binding. And the nice thing about this, it's like a contract between us, but where only one party needs to sign. So let's give you an example. If I would say I lost my physical wallet, and I give 1,000 euro to the person who finds it, and I make it legally binding through an Auslobung or public award. It's like a contract between all of you, but you don't have to sign anything. But if someone finds my physical wallet, I have to give you 1,000 euro. If not, you can take me to court. This is actually also used for things like if there's a mathematical puzzle, like who finds the next prime number or things like this. There are like awards given, yeah? To say, if you find this prime number or if you have solved this mathematical puzzle, you get 1 million euro. And it is legally binding. If someone achieves it, he gets the money. And he didn't sign any contract. So we are using this, meaning the GmbH, they make a public statement or Auslobung, promising to the public, saying, I'm rewarding the action of holding the token with dividends, of sending the token back to the company with this put option to receive extra shares, and so on for those other rights. So it's a trivial action for those who hold the token, but you can only do this action if you actually have the token and a private key to it. What does this give us? It is actually super powerful because now it doesn't matter how you got the token. You can trade it on Uniswap, you can do whatever DeFi protocol. If you have the token, even if you have no investment contract, no chain of investment contracts, didn't sign anything, you can, based on this public award or Auslobung, claim those rights. And with this, we have actually a token which is worth a company share, but behaves like an actual ERC20 on Ethereum without any legal contracts to sign. And this is such a powerful thing, I cannot overstate how important this is. And with this, we want to really work on, as we as a company tokenize it, to revolutionize the German GmbH scene or startup scene, how fundraising is done. Because what can you do with it now? Continuous fundraising, starting with 200, that's now the legal part, and we have a broker license under a liability umbrella, so we can do all of those things I'm talking about. You trade it without a notary. It's programmable equity if you want. It's like if this, then that. If someone does something on your platform, you can reward them with a token. It's one asset for all stakeholders, family, friends, business angels, VCs, customers, community, whoever. Got this, and I really like this continuous fundraising aspect. We as the tokenized GmbH, we have raised, I think it's now 3.3 million over the last about 18 months continuously. But just if someone wants to invest, I give him a link, and to the link he can just invest without a notary. I would never say I did a round. What is a round? It's just continuous fundraising. And this is now possible with a GmbH in Germany on Ethereum. So let me give you some word about regulation, because people say that's not legal. It is legal. If you make, this is a security token. So if you offer security, according to the BaFin, you're the prospect. And then there are certain exemptions. Let's look at the two most important ones. If you offer it to less than 150 investors, it's so-called private offers, business angels, VC, family and friends, you don't need any prospect. On our platform, this just means you create a personalized links for an investor. That's what we did with Tokenizer so far for raising the 3.3 million, and they can just close the investment on their own, just giving out individual links. But there's a limit to it, up to 150, and you cannot make public statements about the terms of the offer. It's a private offer. If you want to go to a public offer and only raise up to 8 million euros per year, you can do so through a broker, which we are under liability umbrella, and using a key information sheet on German Basisinformationsblatt. This is a 3-page document explaining the risk of the investment. We prepared it for all the companies who want to do this. So it's actually very simple for GmbH, just using all our templates as they are, and then start raising publicly. Publicly actually meaning you have an invest now button on your website, which everybody can just click and invest 200 euros or more. So let's summarize the applications. So we have private offer as an application, create an offer which is personalized for someone up to 149. You can do employee participation. That's something which is also really nice, way better than those VSOPs and ESOPs, which give often only exit participation, and employees have to pay like that income tax on it, 47% sometimes. It's crazy. So with our solution, they actually only pay the 25% tax, and it's fully digital. And you can do crowd investing. You can do a campaign, you can do continuous fundraising, have full flexibility about at which price point you offer your shares, when you want to pause the round, when you want to continue it, like really continuous fundraising completely on your terms. So our mission as a company, Tokenize It, is we enable everyone to become a co-owner of a company. We're completely built on Ethereum. It's all compliant through a broker license, registered with the BaFin, and bringing the power of Ethereum to traditional companies. Okay, thank you very much. Now we have time for questions.
Hello.
And you can ask everything about Ethereum history, the DAO, or Tokenize It.
Oh, why Ethereum Classic is working so well. So, controversial questions, anyone? I think you were first.
Hi, Christoph. First of all, thank you for all your effort for the ecosystem. Highly appreciated what you've done in the past and exciting what you're doing now. I just have a question because I didn't get it 100%. Maybe you can help me out. Is it comparable to a convertible loan? I mean, in essence, this is the same, and you really don't need a notary for that as well. So you just put that convertible loan into a token, or?
So the conversion part, yes, but it is not a loan. There's no money which is lent, there is no interest. It is actually a Genussrecht or profit participation right, giving the token holder dividends, exit proceeds, liquidation proceeds. Meaning there is no payback. So that's why it's really not a loan. The reason you don't need a notary is because you don't receive actual shares at the commercial register or Handelsregister. So that's why notary is left out. But you can give someone the same economic rights as a shareholder. But you cannot give him or her is voting rights. So the biggest difference between the token holder and the shareholder is that the token holder has no voting rights. If it would be legal to do this, we would have done it, but it was not legal. So that's why voting rights only for those who go to the notary and convert the tokens to actual shares. But economically, they are the same.
Thank you. I think there was a second question here.
Hi. Just one question. So when you speak about continuous fundraising, I was just wondering if you, over the time, reach the threshold of 150 investors. So, for example, you do fundraising for 5 years, and then investor number 151 comes.
Then you need to do a public offer. But the details of this is, so for us, for example, we have done, I think, 30 private offers so far. I think there's one company who did like 60 on a platform. So they are still in the private offer range. And if you change the term, you start again. It's like, according to the BaFin, there's like one offer with one set of terms. How many people do you offer that? So let's say 30 people close to 50 or even 100. And then next year, you might want to change the valuation. You're worth more and whatever. It's a new offer. So it's counts as a new offer. But you cannot make it public in the sense that you reveal those terms. So on our platform, how this works is you would have, if you not choose to do a public offer, you would still have an invest now button that people can say, I would like to invest that much. Could you please make me an offer? And then you can see all those incoming requests and see who do you want to make an offer, up to 150, not more. But only those get to see the actual financial terms, because then this is considered an actual offer. So, but if you want to go beyond that 150, do a so-called crowd investing legally, then you can go up to 8 million, which is actually totally feasible and not a big deal.
Okay, and the amount that basically overstretched the 150, you have their contacts and then you make them a separate offer which distinguishes.
Technically, you could also do this. Yeah. This would work without broker license, without BaFin, without Basisinformationsblatt. Yeah. But again, I'm not a lawyer, so by the way, disclaimer. Okay.
Thank you for that question. We're running a bit short of time, so what's the best way to reach you beyond this conference, or do you stay here for the entire day and are open to questions? I have to
leave now. I think, okay, that's our head of growth. If you want to contact us, Laura at Tokenize It. If you want to contact me, Christoph at Tokenize It. Email is still the best way to contact me.
Awesome. Thanks. Thanks for being here. Thanks for giving us your presentation, also the great answers, and big round of applause for Christoph, please. And